Okay, good morning, everyone. It's nice to have you all on board this morning. I see on the list of participants, there's some valued clients of mine here today. But can you please put a hand up for those people who are new versus the regulars? Anyone that's new? Can you put up your hand? I want to see if I'm going to surprise you with some interesting stuff today. Okay, there's a few new people. There's more. There's more. Yes. Yes. So welcome to the new people and welcome to the regulars. So before I share my screen with you now, the session is going to be a little bit different today. We are only going to have a half an hour session. And then we have developed a very special training program for you. It's just an hour long. You can log into that on another time. You don't have to do that today. You can do it today or any other time. You can just make contact with us. I'll share the link with you as well and the email address. And you can do the online training, write a quiz, and you can actually receive a certificate. So I'm going to give you some teasers today in terms of what emotional intelligence is and how you can improve yourself. And then please try out this training portal of ours. It's fantastic, and you will get your certificate of attendance afterwards. Right, so let me share the screen. Okay, let's do that. Right, and then I want to start the slideshow. All right. And just to let you know, anyone can participate on that training. So if there's any people that's not in the webinar today, you can actually send that link to anyone to do the training, just an hour long. It's barely an hour. And it's just very interesting because I'm going to address things here now. But on the training, there are nice little exercises in terms of what emotional intelligence is and how you can improve it. And this is your first level. The next Wednesday is the next level, and then next Wednesday thereafter will be a higher level. So this is just very interesting to start getting used to the terms and what does it mean? What is emotional intelligence? Okay, fantastic. So there's a lot of you that know me by now. My name is Cecilia Denton, and I'm an industrial psychologist, and I'm the owner of PTES Consulting. We do psychometric assessment. That is basically our function the whole day and all day. And we do that in organizations. And in this presentation today, we are going to talk about emotional intelligence. And then I just want to say thank you to the HR Talk that always arranges these assessments on our the webinars on our behalf, and inviting all of you, and then also making the notes available to you afterwards. The recording is also available afterwards, and then they are the ones that put these training together for you to get the certificate. So they do an absolute incredible job. All right, so let us start today. Let's talk about the astronaut. So some of you may know this story by now, and for you that's new, let's talk about the story about Lisa Nowak. So very, very interesting story. And the reason why we are starting with this is to give you an example of, shall we say, lower emotional intelligence. This would be a good example of high intelligence, but lower emotional intelligence. So, okay, so to become an astronaut with NASA, it is quite a grueling process. Sorry, I just want to get my notes here so I can read it nicely. So, to become an astronaut with NASA is a grueling process that includes rigorous and challenging selection procedures. So, out of thousands of applicants, only about half a dozen is selected each decade. So in order to be able to apply, you need experience and knowledge in science and engineering. So not only do you need to be physically strong, you need to be a pilot with about 1,000 hours. So that's quite a lot of criteria. So this is the story of Lisa Nowak. So she adhered to all the criteria above. She had a master's degree in aeronautical engineering and had studied postgraduate astrophysics at the US Naval Academy. That is hot stuff. And then also she flew air missions for the US Navy in the Pacific for over 5 years. So she participated in combat. So that's incredible. So, and in 1996, she was one of the fortunate few to be selected to become an astronaut. And I can see why. My goodness, her list of credentials and criteria is incredible. This woman is highly intelligent, and she's hot stuff. I mean, she's way past Tom Cruise. So very good. Now, what is the story about Lisa Nowak? Oh, go to the next page. There we go. So we do use her as an example of lack of emotional intelligence. So look at the picture in front of you. So in the middle is Lisa Nowak. That's obviously a mug shot. And on my left is the boyfriend that she got while doing a training at NASA. And then on the right-hand side was this boyfriend's new girlfriend. So let me give you a little bit of background. Lisa Nowak at this stage was already married and she had 2 young boys at home. So she already had a family. I can just imagine that with her career and growing in a career the way that she was, she could have gotten caught up with the elite that she was dealing with and this incredible, the small group that she was part of that was really top in the world, if I can put it that way. So what was the scenario here that happened? So in 2007, after discovering that her lover, which is the guy on the left, was seeing another woman, Lisa drove 15 hours straight in a diaper from Houston to Orlando in order to confront her boyfriend's new girlfriend in an airport parking lot. Unfortunately, there is a clip of this available on YouTube. So if you want to Google it, you do see a shame. Yes?
Which slide are you meant to be showing at the moment?
The 3 faces. Can you see the 3 faces?
Okay, I can see it on my side, but a lot of them say that they're still on the first slide.
Okay, and now?
They can see it now. Perfect. Thank you.
It sometimes gets stuck like that. So just let us know because you will see when I start talking and it doesn't make sense. Okay, so just a quick recap. The boyfriend is on the left-hand side. She's in the middle and the new girlfriend is on the right-hand side. Okay, so what I was saying is that there is a video available on YouTube where she does confront the girlfriend in the parking lot, but it's really sort of very half-hearted. It was not really very good, shall I say. It was just not a great plan. So the girlfriend obviously realized that something was up. I think the police were called and Lisa Nowak was caught very quickly. But the concerning thing was that she packed zip ties, pepper spray, large garbage bags, and in her car. So also in her defense, I must say that her thoughts on the whole diaper thing was, she said because they are astronauts, the diapers were in her car. She wasn't really wearing it, but we don't know. Hopefully she wasn't wearing it in order to just get to a destination. But it looks like there was not a really well thought through plan for what it is that she wanted to do. So I read a little bit of background on this. When she realized the boyfriend had she sort of suspected there was another woman, and she burglared his house and she went onto his computer and there she found the communication between the two. So I think at that point, maybe the boyfriend tried to communicate with her and break it off, but I don't think she took it well. So I think that the emotional part of that, it just totally got out of control. So there was also theories about, we don't really know how people's hormones and their mental the mental situation gets impact when they travel into space. There's not a lot of research or a lot of information around that. So in her defense, they did say there was a few things that, if you put it into context, there's a lot of information that we don't know about, as well as it was one of her best friends that died in the explosion of the Challenger before this incident. So they said that that could have had an impact on her mental wellness. But that is just if we try to look at the whole picture holistically. So what happened at the end of the day, she did drive to the parking lot. She confronted the girlfriend, but she was arrested very quickly. Nothing happened. But I think the concern was about the stocks that she had in the boot of the car, which is the pepper spray and the garbage bags and all of that. So Lisa was initially charged with attempted murder and kidnapping, but the charges, okay, so I have switched to the next page. I'm just going to do it again, just in case the page got stuck. So now I'm on the page where it says the consequence. So I hope you're all there.
Celia, I have a suggestion. Can you perhaps turn off your camera? Because that sometimes helps with network issues.
Okay. I would have to go out of everything. Let me just do that. Okay. Okay, there we go. And I can start the slideshow from the current slide. Okay, so can you all see that the page that says the consequence? If there's anyone who can't see this page, just let us know. So it says consequence at the top, and it's got Lisa Nowak's picture on the right. Okay. So let's continue. So the consequence of this whole scenario was that Lisa was initially charged with attempted murder and kidnapping, but the charges were eventually reduced to burglary and misdemeanor. So that is because she broke into his house and she looked at his computer. So she actually came off of this fairly lightly, but it is also because nothing much happened. She wasn't really able to follow through on it. Apparently, she did have an emotional breakdown by the time that they caught her. So all the emotions caught up with her there. All right, and then she pleaded guilty in 2009 and was sentenced to a year for probation. So the following year, Nowak was discharged from the Navy, and she now lives in Texas working in the private sector. All right. I hope you can see that I went to the next slide. So now the topic will be, so what is emotional intelligence? So the first thing that we need to do when we look at emotional intelligence is, what is an emotion? So let's just unpack an emotion. So an emotion is a complex psychological state that involves three distinct components. So firstly, you will have a subjective experience. Secondly, there will be a physiological response. And thirdly, there will be a behavior or an expressive response, obviously to try and deal with a physiological response. So let's look at an example, being stuck in traffic. And I don't want you to think that it always has to be a big thing, like a car accident or being stuck in traffic or getting attacked or something big. It can be as simple as having an interaction with a person that was unpleasant, or opening up an email that you read that is upsetting you, or a quick phone call. So it goes from very small incidents to really big things, even like a divorce. So very small. I think this is where people get it wrong. They think that it has to be a big thing to be a big deal. Your body constantly feels changes and pressure, constantly, even if it's on a very small level. So let's look at the three key elements of an emotion. So now we're on the page where at the top it will say the three key elements of an emotion. And here we explain a subjective experience is, for example, being stuck in traffic. The second one is a physiological response. So now I'm feeling panicked, I'm feeling stressed, anxious, or frustrated. Whatever. You can have any type. You can even have a good emotion where you say to yourself, okay, yeah, it's just traffic. I'm okay, I'm calm. It doesn't happen every day. So it can be a good feeling, it can be a negative feeling, it can be anything. And then the third one is the behavior or the expressive response. And this means I may be driving erratic, faster, push in front of others, or maybe just you relax. So this would be a good example of how emotions are elicited. So let's look at what is emotional intelligence. So remember previously we looked at what is an emotion. This is emotional intelligence. So this refers to the ability to perceive, control, and evaluate emotions. So this really means that I'm aware of what I'm thinking and feeling. I'm aware of how that one email upset me or made me feel good. So we mustn't always look at this in the negative. That's the other mistake that we make. We think that it's got to do with negatives. It's also got to do with positives. It can also have to do with neutral feelings. So it is the ability to perceive, control, and evaluate emotions. So you are just very much aware of what is happening with you during the day. So some researchers suggest that emotional intelligence can be learned and strengthened, while others claim that it's inborn. I think some of it could be inborn, but I do think it depends a lot with how you are brought up, with what you are exposed to, what it is that you see, the way that you are getting treated by the people that bring you up. I've seen a lot when people grow up without empathy, they often also don't have a lot of empathy themselves. They can, however, develop it. It obviously depends on how bad it is, but you can develop it. Do not think that this is how I am and it's like that forever. Anyone can develop their awareness. Anyone can develop it because you're just aware of being aware. And then the second point here, the ability to express and control emotions is essential, but so is the ability to understand, interpret, and respond to the emotions of others. So imagine a world in which you could not understand when a friend was feeling sad or when a coworker was angry. So psychologists refer to this ability as emotional intelligence, and some experts even suggest that it can be more important than IQ in your overall life success. So I want to agree with that, because have you ever noticed that if you have a problem, say you have a problem with something that you bought and you're taking it back to the shop, if you approach the people behind the counter very nicely, calmly and kindly, have you seen that you get way more out of them than when you go there and you throw the TV in their face? I'm just taking an example. If you bought a TV that doesn't work, that's happened to some of us now. You get home and then the thing in the box doesn't work. So you just have a better response if your approach is different. And all of us have experienced this. So let it work in your favor. Be more aware of it. I know that also you want to acknowledge your anger. Do not suppress anything. That's just not what we're saying. We want you to feel it, understand it, acknowledge it. But it's also good to know how to respond to the emotions of other people. You can get more out of the situation. Okay, so now let's go back to Lisa. So Lisa is a very complex scenario. It's a complex example, but let's try to unpack it by purely trying to understand. We are not condoning. We are not saying it was okay or poor her or anything like that. We are purely gathering data here, and we are trying to understand what is going on. So firstly, EQ is the ability to perceive, control, and evaluate emotions. So what emotions do you think Lisa experienced? So even if you want to type something in the chat box, you are welcome to do so. So a lot of people would say, maybe if you look at her situation, okay, we know that she's a little bit forgotten about her husband and the children at home, but she was part of this very elite selected group, and she's been a winner all her life. She doesn't look like someone who's experiencing a lot of failure. Maybe she has. I'm assuming here now. But now she's in this elite group. She connects with a man. That man rejects her and moves on to someone else. So for someone who's a competitor, who's winning a lot, what type of emotions do you think she went through? And I think she is mostly used to thinking logically about things. So now that she's experiencing these feelings and emotions, she may not recognize it. She doesn't know what to do with it. And for me, it looks like it was very much suppressed in her. I don't think she was able to identify or acknowledge it. It was so deep in her, she didn't know that she was actually losing it. Just by the way, that boyfriend with a new girlfriend are still together today as we are speaking. So that is how it rolled out. Just a little bit of useless information. Okay, but so think about the emotions that she experienced. Now let's look at the second point. Express and control emotions. Was Lisa able to constructively express and control her emotions? So that is a big fat no. Firstly, I don't think she was able to, when she was experiencing it, I don't think she perceived it well. So if you can't acknowledge it, that it's there, if you can't acknowledge your anger or your frustration, you cannot control it. Therefore, you actually can't constructively express it. So she wasn't able to evaluate what was going through her head. And I think the way she expressed it was the actions that she took. So can you see she took quite logical actions? Her logical actions, not logical in the sense that it made sense. I mean, logical step by step. I'm going to get in my car and I'm going to kill and bury that woman. That's what I mean by logical. It was very thinking. She was very much thinking about it. She was not taking care of her emotions. So she was not in that soft space where she was thinking, what am I feeling and what is this eliciting out of me? So if I do say logical, I don't mean rational, because she was not thinking rational. I'm talking about the fact that she was making a practical plan to get rid of the competition. She was not thinking, I am experiencing these emotions. It may be severe rejection, heartache, anything. It could have been anything that she was experiencing. And maybe she was really in love with a guy. Okay, the stalking behavior is a little bit weird, but maybe she was really just overwhelmed by those emotions. And then the third point, understand, interpret, and respond to the emotions of others. So do you think that she understood the feelings and emotions of the other parties involved? So now we can even look at her own husband, her children, and then the boyfriend and the new girlfriend. So it does not look like she was acknowledging her own or anyone else's emotion. So you can really see she's a very good example of high IQ but low EQ. Okay, so let's just have a look at what EQ is not. Please put questions in the question box as we are moving through this. If you have any questions around this, when I'm finished, we can have a look at it. So let's just look at what EQ is not. And a lot of people in South Africa do interpret this the wrong way. Someone said to me the other day that EQ is being overly friendly. And there's so many things that it is not. A lot of people also think that it means that you are soft. It means that you are very huggy, hug a lot and you console a lot. It's not that at all. So emotional intelligence is not agreeableness. As a matter of fact, you need to have a balance between dominant and agreeable. Or shall I rather say assertiveness and agreeable. So you have to have that middle ground, because that will actually make you assertive, because you're going to be helpful and assertive. Because if you are too agreeable, the textbook definition of too agreeable is you mainly always lose. So this is not what we're talking about. You want to have a balance between agreeable and dominant, and the nice middle place is assertive. It's firm. Okay, and then the second one, optimism. That's not emotional intelligence. Happiness, calmness. No. Dropping your standards, giving into excuses, letting people get away with things, hugging and consoling. That is not emotional intelligence. Okay, so what low EQ looks like. So this is the typical picture of what it looks like. So currently what you should have at the top of your slide is, it should say at the top what low EQ looks like. And then you have quite an angry man on the right-hand side. That's the slide that we're on right now. So low EQ is being argumentative.
Yeah, we're not I'm not
Let me
seeing that
just,
slide.
okay, just
Okay,
have a look
now
now.
it shows.
Okay, so just for those that didn't see the previous slide, can you see the one that says what EQ is not? The two people hugging, and now we've got the face, the angry face on the right-hand side. Can you see that, Charlene?
Yes, now we can see that.
Okay, you will get the notes afterwards. So if anyone missed a slide, you will be able to go through it systematically again. Okay, so low EQ is being argumentative, not listening to others, blaming others. This happens quite a lot in personal relationships, at home as well. So if you want to optimize your interpersonal relationship with your partner at home, take a look at this. And what you want to do is take a step back and experience what you are going through, but also put yourself in your partner's shoes. Because what we do is we get the argument ready, but that person hasn't even finished talking, and then we've got our story ready already. Put yourself in your partner's shoes, and you will be able to navigate through the conflict. Emotional outbursts, always having to be right. Always having to be right also means that you may have your ego is quite fragile. You feel like you feel upset or humiliated if you are not right. That just means that it's a maturity thing, and it will help you to listen to the other person and put yourself in their shoes. And it takes a lot to do that. Especially when you get angry in a confrontation, it takes a lot to do that, but this is how you will practice it. And then oblivious to others' feelings, poor coping skills, turn conversations to themselves. We all do that quite a lot. That really means we're not really listening a lot. And then struggle with relationships. So someone that's got more of a long-term problem with low EQ will have a long history of poor relationships with people. Most of us, we can polish the sharp edges. Some of us are a little bit better than others. But if you have a very, very big problem, you may see someone that's they are maybe older already, and they cannot make relationships last, and they cannot keep a job as well. And it could be attributed to other things as well, but a lot of conflict could be low EQ. So really look at these few points and be man enough to recognize them in yourself. We all have a little bit of this. We all have a little bit of this. I would say myself, I sometimes maybe don't listen, or I talk about myself instead of trying to put myself in the other person's shoes. All right, let's go to the next slide. Let me just refresh. I hope you can see this one. You'll see on the right, the man fell off his chair with his, at least the priority is right. He's got the bottle of champagne pointing upwards. I like this guy already. So what high EQ looks like. So this is what the picture of a person with high EQ will look like. So high EQ individuals control their interactions with toxic people. I don't even want to say just toxic people, any person, by keeping their feelings in check. Don't just call random people toxic. We are all people that are stressed. We can be difficult sometimes. Be careful of just calling people toxic. It must really go very far for someone to be toxic. So high EQ individuals control their interactions with people by keeping their feelings in check. When they need to confront any person, they approach the situation rationally, something that Lisa Nowak obviously did not do. They identify their own emotions and don't allow anger or frustration to feel the chaos. Now, that is very difficult, that last little sentence. They identify their own emotions and they don't allow anger or frustration to feel the chaos. That is very, very, very difficult to do. So if you can practice recognizing and identifying your own emotion and recognizing that here comes anger, here comes frustration, then you can start practicing it and you can get better at it. If you can even read someone else who's getting more frustrated or upset with you, you can try and manage the situation. Don't suppress it. Go with it. Don't try and control it, but acknowledge it. And this is why you will hear a lot of people will say, I understand your frustration. It really helps when you say that, or someone says that to you. We know it's cliche. It doesn't matter. It helps. It works. So high EQ people have a robust emotional vocabulary because they understand emotions. They are curious about people. Don't just put people in a box. Let's be curious about Lisa. Isn't she a very curious case? Isn't it? It is so bizarre. It's curious. Let's just be curious. And then know your own strengths and weaknesses. Know that I don't like it to get feedback at work about my performance. It pushes my buttons. I don't want to hear it. Relax about it. Be open about it. So know your strengths and weaknesses. Know that you don't like certain things, and know that you're actually pretty good with maybe communication or other things. They are usually a good judge of character. They are difficult to offend. This is a very good one. How easy are you to be offended? I want to pause there for a second, because this is quite a big thing in the world right now. Someone with a high EQ is difficult to offend. They let go of mistakes. They don't hold grudges. They neutralize difficult or toxic people. They don't seek perfection. This is another big one. When we are working, we get irritated, frustrated because we seek perfection. Relax. Tomorrow there's a new problem. And disconnect. The reason why I'm saying disconnect is disconnect from your electronics. We're hearing this every day more and more. The reason why you are on your phone while you're drinking your coffee is because you don't want to be alone with you and just your coffee. Practice that a little bit. You will see how quickly you switch the TV on, how quickly you check your emails, how quickly you're on scrolling. I make some habits now where in the morning I drink coffee with and I put my phone away. And it's quite difficult. The little hand just goes to the phone. The little hand just reaches for the phone. It's like automatic almost. Disconnect. Have your coffee or your cup of tea alone without the phone. Just practice that, and you will start getting, then you'll actually see what are the thoughts that's in your head that you're trying to get away from. Then limit your caffeine. And the reason why we're saying limit the caffeine is because caffeine stimulates the central nervous system, and it gives you a fake sense of energy, whereas it actually makes you irritable and frustrated. So what I've been doing lately, if I know I'm going through quite a rough patch, I limit the caffeine. I take decaf, because I just want to make sure that doesn't additionally secrete cortisol in my body, because caffeine unfortunately does trigger the cortisol levels, and it's fake, but the cortisol still gets secreted. So just be aware of how caffeine changes your mindset and what it does to your frustration levels. Do little experiments. One day take coffee and the other day take nothing, and see what the effect is. Get enough sleep, stop negative self-talk in its tracks. You won't let anyone limit your joy. Okay, so this is it for today. I'm going to stop the session. I'm going to see if there was anyone who made any questions, or has any questions, made any notes on the chat box. But if you log in to do the little training program and the test, this is the map of intelligence, of emotional intelligence that you are going to deal with. And it will give you exercises, and you can see how, what does it mean? What are the components of emotional intelligence? So then I just want to quickly jump to the last page, because I want to show you. Oh, I did it again. I just want to jump to the last page here. Can you see, firstly, there's two. Can you see the email address right at the bottom? training@hrtalk.co.za. Email and ask them for the link. Otherwise, here you can see the link. This is the link. You'll also find this link in your in the invite that I sent out yesterday, or that the HR Talk sent out yesterday. On that email, this link is there. You click on it, it opens up your little portal. I think it's 150 Rand. You participate in your training and you get your little certificate afterwards. So really go in and try this out. It's really nice. It's user-friendly. It's a really nice little exercise. And then I just want to see if there was any, there are some notes here in the chat box. Let me see. Okay. Okay, there's someone said people pleasing. Yeah, I can see what you're referring to. Okay. Okay. So there's just people saying they can't see the slide. Does BPD have an impact towards, are you talking about bipolar? I would assume that's bipolar. Or are you talking about borderline personality disorder? Someone said, yeah, does BPD have an impact on EQ? Are you talking about bipolar, or are you talking about borderline personality? Because I think with both, it could have an impact. There could be, whichever one it is that you meant, it can have an impact on both, because it's just because it's such an emotional thing. It's an emotional thing, but I still believe that you can develop it. You can still improve it. You can still grow it and develop it. I know that they say the crystallization for emotional intelligence is around 35, the age 35, but I know of people who have gotten better even though they're older. So never ever let a statistic or a that's just a theoretical thought, curb you from developing your own emotional intelligence. Okay, I see there's some other notes here. I don't know what that means, but I just want to refresh the notes and see if there was anyone else that made a note. There's no questions here. Okay, so this person said borderline personality disorder. Yeah, so it could. For that personality disorder, it could, because you do see quite immature behavior sometimes. But of course, therapy and coaching can help with that. Obviously, there's also degrees of borderline personality disorder, like degrees of severity. I've seen people with not so bad, and then some people with quite bad of this disorder. But I think, as a matter of fact, that the EQ development can actually help someone with that personality disorder. It's actually with any type of personality disorder, it can make it better if the person is willing to see what they do, and if they're willing to develop, and if they want to. So that's very important, if they want to. So anyone who wants to develop their emotional intelligence, it's about if people want to. If you don't want to, it's not going to happen. It's the same as with any other type of development in your life. If people don't want to, then they're not going to. But it would be very, very good for your interpersonal relationships with your children, with your partner, and with people at work. It only makes it better if you've got the ability to really listen to what the other person is saying, acknowledge their feeling and what is being elicited in you. If you can start with that, if you are in a fight, a confrontation, and you can slow it down by keeping your mouth shut just for a minute and understanding and listening to what the other person is saying and then responding, you are already calming down the heat. You all know what I'm talking about, because we all go through this. When you fight and you just want to destroy that other person, even though it's the person you love. It's the most important person in your life. So just take that step back. Hold it in. Take that step back. Same with when you get an angry email. Take a step back from the computer, go make a cup of tea, step back, take a moment before you respond. Then you are on the winning track already. Okay, no other questions for me. Is there nothing? I think all of you are going to go do the training. All of you are going to go do the training. You're not going to do, let me see, you're not going to ask me. I'm just going through this. Yeah, I hear a few people have also mentioned what they think Lisa Nowick went through: betrayal, rejection, anger. She would see it as a failure, disappointed, stress, overwhelmed. Yeah, yes. And someone said methodical. Yes, methodical was better than logical. Yes. Okay. All right. I don't see any other questions. So I hope to see you guys next week, Wednesday. Please join and please go play around on the portal to do your training. It's an hour training. Go make your coffee, maybe a decaf. Go participate, play a little bit. We send you your certificate and you can send it to anyone. Anyone can participate. You will love it. And we will see you next week, Wednesday. And we're going to have a quiz for then as well. So have a lovely Wednesday. If there's no other questions for me, then I will see you next week.